Hi guys, and welcome back to Neil Pois with me, Neil, and Tim Thomas. It is a new series for our national final reactions. We've not done this one before. We've only ever really reacted to the winner. But this is Melodifestivalen, my favourite national final. I do not care what anyone says about it. If you say bad things, I don't care. Go away. Don't watch this. We are going to give you the direct to finalists reactions. So there was 6 songs that competed at Delta Veen In, and the first direct to final was John Lundvik, who we know from Too Late for Love in 2018. He also competed in Melfest in 2022. And probably before that as well. I believe this is his 4th time going direct to final.
They like to come back. They like to do Melfest, those Swedes, don't they?
But you know what? Who wouldn't? The joy that it brings. If you want to catch up on any of our other national final reactions, go to neilpois.com. You can find all of the links you need there, as well as to our social media. But as we said, the first entry of our Melodifestivalen series is John Lundvik and his song, The Voice of the Silent. So let's see what we think of this.
Lundvik. He is a good-looking man, isn't he?
Yes, he's so handsome.
John.
Take a breath and breathe.
Already looks and sounds very Swedish.
Close your eyes, you'll see that every little beat of your heart is telling you the story of your scars. Keep holding on.
God, he is gorgeous. God.
One thing you can always count on with John Lundvik is that you'll get a great vocal.
Everyone should know that they could be someone. Every little beat of your heart is telling you the story of your scars. Keep holding on to love.
His vocal is insane, actually.
Yeah. Very, very talented singer. Oh. See the visuals, very cool.
Now this is straight away, you could watch this and you could see this representing Sweden at Eurovision, because it is very Sweden coded.
Yeah. Melfest is in fact just a national Eurovision. It is a Eurovision. Yeah, I mean,
I'm going to say, every time I hear it, so this is my 3rd time listening to this song.
Yeah.
Every time I listen to it, I enjoy it more and more. I can't lie. You'll get into the Sweden of it all.
Yeah.
After it.
Look at the charisma oozing off of him.
I'm still not sure this kiddie choir.
I don't mind it. Look.
And what?
Well, just honestly, like, that's the first song that we're listening to from Melfest, and already I'm getting like, okay, just send it to Eurovision. Just like you said, it's just a finished product, isn't it? This is what a joy it must be to be an artist competing at Melfest and knowing that SVT is going to throw every Swedish crown that they have into the production of this contest. It's just incredible. Okay, fantastic vocals. Not that I had any doubts on that part. We knew that he can sing, but it's just insane. It almost feels like a studio cut.
Yeah.
Like it is that good. Visuals on point.
I think it looks really amazing. Like that silver ball reflecting the surfaces. I think even at the end, the swirling sort of reminds me a little bit of the backdrop for Nemo's performance at Eurovision last year.
Yeah.
But not the same. Just a reminder. But yeah.
Yeah, it is very. I will say, I can get behind this one a lot more than Too Late for Love. That song never really did much for me. And here's the thing. This one still very much feels like it's very well produced, very Swedish, very made for Eurovision, very made for competition. But I feel like it's got a lot more of that wow factor than Too Late for Love ever really did. I feel like that winning the jury that year was sort of like, really? It was good, but was it worthy of a jury winner? I didn't really think so. Like a top 5, sure, but for me, that was not a winner. If this one would win the jury vote, I'd be like, okay, that makes sense. It's just polished from start to finish. There's a lot more power in this one as well. It feels a lot more current. You did say during the reaction, we're going to get into the Sweden of it all. It is, like I said, it is very Swedish, and it's still gonna, if they send this, it's still gonna work against them. There's always going to be these people saying that, oh, it's too Swedish, it's too Eurovision, but this is just what Sweden does. They're
a hit machine.
Yeah, exactly. Name a country in the world that does better pop music than Sweden. I cannot, like, obviously there's the USA there as well, that they have amazing pop artists, but like, just production-wise, this is polished as fuck. Some would say a bit too polished maybe, a little bit too much. If you dislike what Sweden does at Eurovision, you're going to dislike this. It's very, it's very much along the lines. That's the only issue that I would have with this one, is that when is Sweden ever going to send something risky? This is not risky at all. If this wins, it's going to do well.
Yeah.
So in that sense, why wouldn't they send it? But like we talked about Fröken Snusk before we started the recording, about the intro of the Deltävling yesterday. That would have been a risk last year if they would have sent Fröken Snusk.
Yeah.
It would have been something that was, even though it's still very well produced, it wouldn't have sounded super, super Swedish. Or Swedish
apart from being
Eurovision,
Swedish.
Yeah, but like Swedish Eurovision. It wouldn't have been their typical pop entry that they usually send. So in that sense, is it time for them to send something else? Yes, but we've been saying that for years. And at the end of the day, as long as Sweden gets a top 10 result, I don't see them changing it up. Yeah.
Why would they? And the thing is, we can moan or whatever. I don't moan. I love Swedish music. But I understand. I would love to see Sweden take a risk. Would love it. But I still enjoy this. I really do like this. Now, I remember 2022, I did not like John Lundvik's entry at all. I think it was my least favourite of that year, which there was some in there. But I'm really glad he's came back with this. You said it feels powerful, it feels modern, it feels joyful. There's a few different bits that I get in it. So there's one little bit of the song near the start where it sounds like another song, and it's like, do you ever know that you can be some? It just sounds like another song. I'm also getting a little bit of Anders Bagge feel in there. The Universe song. Mm-hmm. I'm getting a little bit of that.
I remember.
I love that song anyway, so who cares?
I know you do.
Yeah, but I do really like this. You can tell straight away that, there's big Swedish songwriter names in this. We saw Thomas Gesson. Actually, we forgot to mention that in our Spain reaction video, that Thomas Gesson is involved in the melody song.
Yeah, I saw that, yeah.
So he's everywhere. But he always is, so who cares? But yeah, I really enjoyed this. I think we will look at our next director finalist in the next video, and as much as I love it, it's more of a risk, and it is one that I would be like, oh, kind of come on, Sweden, just go for it. But we've also got other more risky ones. You know, we've closing out the last Deltavling is Scarlett, who absolutely rocked it last year, and were so unfortunate. But absolutely amazing. If they can bring something even more than that, I would love to see Sweden take that risk. Because
and that's the issue with Sweden, isn't it? That you do always have these really strong pop songs that are very typical Eurovisions, very typically Swedish. And you can't help but love them, even though you know that it's time for them to take a risk. And there will be risky songs in the mix probably this year as well, like there were last year, that you would also really want to see going to Eurovision. But I wouldn't be angry if this wins Melfest. Yeah. Like, it's so good. And you know, maybe we should just let Sweden be Sweden and just let them do whatever the hell they want to do, you know?
Exactly. I mean, there's a public vote at the end of the day.
Exactly. If this is what they want to send, let them send it. I feel like maybe we should introduce something in this series because we know it is Sweden. They always do well. There's rarely a year that they don't come top 10. Should this win Melfest, would this be a contender for you? Do you, or maybe not for you personally, but do you think it would be a contender to win jury vote, televote, or the whole thing?
I don't see it winning the whole thing, but I could see it doing very well. I can see it getting into, you know, being on the left side, potentially into the top 10. I just don't know if I can see it winning because of the Sweden of it all. But I really enjoy it, so I wouldn't complain if it did. But I think, yeah, it's a pretty good. I think it's a safe qualifier for sure. Anyway, yeah. I mean, we know that there's only been 1 year in recent history. I think it was 2010 where Sweden didn't qualify.
Yeah.
I know a lot of people would love to see Sweden not qualify, but I don't think it's going to happen anytime soon when you've got this amazing national final.
Look, we talked about this last year as well when we were reviewing Sweden's entry, and if you just want to see Sweden not qualifying just for the fun of it, then I don't know if you can really call yourself an actual Eurovision fan. I hate that kind of attitude where it's like, well, I hate Sweden so much. Like, do you? We talked about the word hate earlier. Do you really know what the word hate means? Have you ever actually experienced the feeling of actual hatred? Because if you say I hate Sweden, then you don't know what hatred is. Like, you really, I'm not getting into it. This is a strong entry. If it would win Melfest, and I could see it winning, even though it's just the first song that we've listened to, I could see it winning. And if it does, it's going to do well. It's going to come top 10 with the jury, depending on what else is there, possibly a top 5 with the jury. It might flop slightly with the televote. We've seen that before with Sweden.
And we've seen it with John Lundvik before.
And we've seen it with John. Well, yeah, he got 90-something points, which still wasn't bad, but was bad in there. You know, do you remember when they made the joke about Benjamin Ingrosso's televote flopping? But this is definitely. I agree. Maybe it's not a contender for victory, although, yeah, again, we don't know a lot yet, but it's definitely a top 10. I think if they send this, surely the juries will push this into the top 10, and well deserved.
I think it's fantastic. But that's it for John Lundvik. That is our first director final, artist of Melodifestivalen. We will be back tomorrow with our second. You don't want to miss it. This one's a bit different. It's not very Sweden, I'll tell you that. Neilplat.com. Check out all the previous videos. Follow our links to our social medias. All the rest of it's there. And we will see you then. Bye.